Well, here we are again. I'm going to do a recap of week 5 and then look forward to week 6. But you may be asking, why aren't you in that room that you're normally in? And why is the camera so shaky? Well, the fact of the matter is I am out in California right now, in sunny Southern California, and I am taking classes. This week, I'm taking a class in social anthropology, which is really the study of how humans structure their societies, how people relate to one another, and then how they govern themselves. And after all, if you think about it, and that's what fantasy football is too. So, in salute to my class in social anthropology, I'm out here at Biola University. It's a beautiful 75 degrees. I'm watching soccer practice right now. They call that football. Anyway, I wanted to do a quick recap of last week and then look at this week. And I want you to know that it pays to watch this video, because a lot of what I talked about last week in individual matchups actually came to fruition. And we'll cover those in just a few minutes, or in a few seconds. So, allow me. Last week, Monkey Punch, my team played the Go Browns team, the managerless, ownerless Go Browns team. Rick, you have the best team by far, but unfortunately some of the people that you have in your lineup aren't playing, and so that's the only reason. Well, actually, it's not the only reason that you're losing. I looked at actually the matchups you've had over the past 5 weeks and saw that oftentimes when you play a team, they end up having one of their best weeks, and so you do absolutely have the best lineup, bar none. And I think if you were managing that team, you'd be in good shape going forward. But I won that game in a landslide, primarily behind a very angry Tom Brady playing against the Cleveland Browns, and so he did very well. And I want you to know that the running back duo of the Go Browns, which is David Johnson and who else is the other one? David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. They're just incredible. But they weren't enough to overcome the large deficit that I ended up winning by. And so I picked myself to win with an angry Brady coming forward, and he did. Steeler Nation last week beat up Houday Nation by about 70 points. And in that matchup, we had Derek Carr and Amari Cooper connecting over and over again. And that's what I mentioned last week, that if that combination pans out, it's going to be a victory for Steeler Nation, and that's actually what happened. Houday Nation is led by LaShawn McCoy, and I think McCoy scored 27 points last week for you, John. And the challenge you had was that you had Floyd, Deshaun Jackson, and Jacob Tamme together only scoring 5 points, and so it's hard to win when your guys don't perform. So it's not your fault. It's these guys. They're not performing up to what they should be doing. And then thirdly, we had the boys taking on the Red Devils. And the boys there won that matchup. It was a closer matchup than most. Won that 131 to 106. And 106 is not a lot of points for this league. And so, Michael, your team was let down really by Deshaun Jackson, by Will Fuller, and also by LeGarrette Blount. And remember I told you that if Brady comes back and he decides to start passing, Blount was going to take a hit, and he did. But then the boys had a solid performance by Larry Fitzgerald, Devontae Freeman, and also Antonio Brown. And if Brown heats up, we're all in trouble. So I picked that one as well. And then in the Luck Don't Be a Lady versus the Silver Bullets, the battle of the number 1 and 2 teams, Luck Don't Be a Lady prevailed. And it was a little closer than I'm sure that they both would have liked, and had to wait to see what happened after Monday night before things were all said and done. But in the end, Rob's Luck Don't Be a Lady maintained their perfect record at 5-0 by beating Ken's Silver Bullets by 14. Ken, you were let down by 3 people, by Vincent Jackson in your flex position, by Frank Gore in your running back position, and also by Jason Witten as your tight end. They didn't score very much, and what happened with Rob is he had the combination of Andrew Luck and also Brandon Marshall, who scored 58 points. So that's a tough thing to overcome. So Rob, congratulations there. The pick that I did not do well with was the Team Dietrich versus Tony's Chance. Tony, last week I picked you, and you were ahead going into Monday night, but then Michelle and Tim, they had Mike Evans, Jameis Winston, and also, I want to say the defense. Was it the defense? And so they scored 58 points on Monday night to overcome their deficit, and they ended up winning that game. And, Tony, you had 102 points scored by Ben Roethlisberger, by T.Y. Hilton, and Gronkowski. That's right. And I said Gronkowski should be doing fine. Even though Martellus Bennett stole his goal line stands, Gronkowski still scored about almost 20 points for you. But it was the rest of the team that only scored 50 or so points, 49 to be exact. That really let you down. So sorry about that. I think you'll recover. So if I recap, now we have the standings. Rob, you're still at 5-0, or at 5-0, still number one team. But then it gets a little bit of a shakeup. Team Dietrich is in at 3-2. They're the number 2 team. And now we have Bob's number 3 at 3-2. I'm number 4 at 3-2. Mike's at 3-2, Steeler Nation. And then we have the Silver Bullets, who dropped down from 2nd place to 6th place just because of points total, and are now in 6th place there. The Red Devils are 2-3. The Houday Nation is also 2-3. So John and Michael, as dad and father, you guys are 2-3. And then Tony's Chance at 1-4. And then, of course, Rick is representing the Browns as the Go Browns at 0-5. So we had a bit of a shakeup. And I think as we go forward, we'll see more distance put between some of the teams. And I want to address one thing with you at this point. I was talking with Bob, who owns the boys, last week, and he said, hey, how many teams do we have going into the playoffs? And I said 4. He said, well, what if we did it to 6? I said, okay, well, what I'll do is put that to a league vote. And if the league votes in favor of having 6 teams in the playoffs, then I'll make the adjustment. If not, if they vote against it, then we will just leave it as is. All right, let's look ahead to this week. We have 5 matchups again, as always. I'm going Monkey Punch going against Luck Don't Be a Lady. And I was talking to my brother Rob, who's the owner of Luck Don't Be a Lady, and he said, I think everybody's going to be rooting for you this week. And so I just hope my fantasy team understands how important this victory is. But I have lots of injuries, and I need help. I need Brady to be Brady, and to use Gronk and Edelman and Hogan, all those guys. I need him to be on fire this week. But Rob, you have a lot of favorable matchups there, and I think with Luck going tonight against who's he going against? Is it Houston? And he's got a fairly good matchup, I think. But if Luck can do well tonight, I hate Thursday night matchups. Hate them. Guys are not usually fully recovered, and it's usually a lower scoring game. But this year's been a little different. So Luck going tonight for you, Rob. I give myself the nod, but here's the thing. I have no idea. I think my team, I have Jordan Reed, concussion. Ingram, who's sick, and I have Eric Decker just went to injured reserve. I got all these injuries. I could very easily lose, and lose by a lot. But I'm picking myself. Then we have Steeler Nation going against the Go Browns. Now here is my shocker special. I think Rick's going to win this week. I think the Browns are going to win. And here's why. Out of everyone in the Go Browns lineup, only one, Sammy Watkins, is injured. He's injured reserve. And with Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson and the people, Aaron Rodgers, that he has in his lineup, I think Rick will actually pull out a victory, even though he's one man short. But, Mike, this is the caveat. If Hopkins can deliver for you tonight, or I'm sorry, on Sunday night, against Indiana, or Indianapolis, then I think you've got a real shot. But I'm going to go out on a limb and pick Rick to get the first victory of the year. Then we have boys playing Houday Nation. And as I mentioned before, Brown last week started to really come alive, and I think that's going to continue against Miami this week. But the running backs are a little tougher matchup, but we're a passing league, so The boys also have Larry Fitzgerald. Even if Carson Palmer doesn't play on Monday night, he's coming off concussion protocol, he's cleared to play. Even if Carson Palmer doesn't play, Fitzgerald still scores a lot of points no matter who's throwing the ball. And then John, Houday Nation, again, you're just suffering from people not performing like they should, like you need them to. I think if Dalton, if Andy Dalton and LaShawn McCoy can have the games of the week, then you're going to be fine. But I still think I give the nod here to the boys. All right, then lastly we have, I don't know if we have lastly, do we? I forgot one of our matchups. We have Tony's Chance going against the Red Devils. And to me, this comes down to the tight ends. You have Greg Olsen, top tight end, playing for the Red Devils. You have Gronkowski playing for Tony's Chance, the top tight end. So those two guys might cancel each other out. So to me, if one has a great game, one has a terrible game, then the play of the quarterbacks is going to be all important. The Red Devils have Matt Ryan, and he's got a really tough matchup against Seattle, which impacts me as well for Julio Jones. And then, Tony, you have Roethlisberger going against Miami. So I think you've got an advantage there. So I'm giving this week's picks to Tony's Chance. Now, let me see. I obviously forgot the Team Dietrich playing against... I'm drawing a blank right now. So give me a second. Well, we have Team Dietrich, Tim and Michelle's team. It's a very strong team going up against, going against Ken's your Silver Bullets. I'm sorry about that. This is going to be a game, Michelle and Tim, your team scoring like 300 points a week. You're by far the team that scores the most. And Ken's team has been struggling in the scoring. Even though they've been winning, they've just been struggling with scoring a lot of points. And so I'm going to give the nod this week to Tim and Michelle's team. Elliott's, he's just a stalwart. He's going to go off. Breeze is playing at home, so that's a real advantage for you there. All right, and Ken, I know you have Russell Wilson, and you've got to rely on him to do well for you. And so I think this one's going to be a bit of a mismatch in favor of Team Dietrich. But hey, I've been wrong before. Not a lot, but I have. All right, well, it's time for me to time out. I got to get to my social anthropology class. And just know that I enjoy being in the league with you guys and hope that everyone has a great week. Good luck, except for luck, don't be elated.